Oh hi, didn't see you there. My name's Mr. Bart. Welcome to this tutorial video. Today we're going to be learning how to edit using Final Cut Pro, specifically with the Crepe Lady, who has been a fixture in video class for over a decade now. And thanks to Mr. Seymour for finding this initially, however many years ago it was. I'm recording the whole desktop, and I've already searched for Pixabay music because later on, after we get all set up, we're going to add in some music. Sometimes it can be fun to edit to the music. But for right now, let's just get set up. I have Final Cut Pro open. Oh, whoa, nothing. But say you have all your old projects. You don't want to like have things go and I'm going to go, well, I won't go full screen here because then you won't be able to see this top bar here. You have all your other projects. You want to make sure you distinguish this one from the other ones so there's not a lot of overlap. So what we're going to do is come up to the top here, the very top, File, New, Library. That's going to create a whole new library. We're going to call it Crepes. I think I spelt that correctly. I know there's like an accent point over one of the E's. I don't know how to do that though. So I'm going to save that to the desktop. And you can see on the desktop here, if I expand other, Untitled is the one I practiced with yesterday and showed to one of the classes. But you can see it says Crepes right there. So that's where our library exists. And my other libraries are still here if I wanted to have these, but don't really need it. So with Crepes up here in the top left selected, I'm going to select File again, File, New, Project, and call it Crepe Lady, C-R-E-P-E, Lady, and hit OK. So now I have a whole new library, and I have a whole new project to work on. And I'm not going to see all my old stuff and get bogged down in all that, because a lot of what makes editing, what makes good editors is that you figure out how to, manage all the footage that you're getting coming in, because it can get very overwhelming very fast. So to have a system is a really good thing. This is a very basic system. Everybody has their own little thing. Once you get to know what you're doing, you're going to come up with your own way of doing things. That's perfectly fine. However, this is the best way to do it for people just learning. So what we need to do is import the footage. Now, I happen to have over here on the desktop the folder with Crepe Lady stuff in it. All the things. Now, you may have to download it. I may have put it on your desktop already, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots that you want to import into Final Cut Pro. Now, I can do it a couple ways. I can highlight all these, click, drag and drop them over to, this is called the event. So there's like a star. I'm not sure. I'm going to open OBS. This is going to look weird for a second. Okay, so that does work. Cool. Because I have this little configuration where I can zoom in on my computer, but I didn't know if on OBS it would zoom in. So here we have an event, and by default it's going to call whatever the date is. We could change it to be whatever we want, but where there's a little star there, that's an event. If I just dragged and dropped this here, it wouldn't do anything. But if I were to drag and drop it onto the event, you can see it says, or it did, hold on there. Or I can just drop it in here because that's where the event is opening to. I can't. My zoom in button is Control, and that's also a button that's going to cause it to, well, you can see the green plus. You see a green plus, you're in good shape. So either here or here. Alternatively, you can just drag and drop it into the timeline, but that's going to not be ideal because you're going to have everything there. It will show up in the event as well, so you could just like drop it into the timeline, then delete it out of the timeline, but that's kind of weird. If you want to do it like you would with the camera, you can also come up to this down button, this is the same interface that you have when you have the SD card. You plug it into the back. However, this time we're just going to go to the desktop. I have a very messy desktop. Go by name. Nope, that's not. It says it's going by name, but it's really not. Oh, here's Crepe Lady. And I can click on this, hit Command A, and import all. So now I have my 7 different shots. And it says April 11th, 2014 when this was created. That's the day so 10 years ago, I created this, but that's not the first time we started doing it. That was when I updated it to 720p from whatever it was in standard definition. All right, so we have all our shots here. Now, what we want to do is show her making the whole process of her making the rice crepe. And we're going to do that by first finding something that... So this is a pretty good shot. I'd say the long shot too. Let's see this other long shot. It's all right. Cutaways are exactly that, just cutaways that you'd have. So during the process of showing it, you can cut away to them. So they're not something you really want to focus on. Same thing with over the shoulder, because this is more of a shot you can like cut away to in case you need to hide something, which I'll show you through this process. And then medium close-ups, good for reactions. But generally speaking, LS2 is going to be our bread and butter, so to speak. So this is the one we're going to build off of, because you can see pretty much everything, including the part where people have a hard time is at the end, where you have the person in this orange shirt bring the crepe over to that deal. I'm pointing at the screen. That doesn't really help you, but see, they put the crepe over the orange shirt, grabs the thing, puts the crepe on there. We're going to use that toward the end. So we're going to do this out of order. But all right, so normally what people do is they drag and drop that in there, and then they're like, okay, let's look at the end of this. I'm going to change how this looks. But I'm also going to say this. One, make sure you have this up. I think I have defaults on here. I'm not entirely sure, but I always have this open. This is, let me hover over it, Inspector. That will allow me to make quick adjustments. And then something that may not be on, and for whatever reason is not on by default, you want to have these on. The video and audio skimming, you want to have those on, and you definitely want to have snapping on. Now, if you accidentally hit N, like I'm just going to tap N, it turns it off. That's so like when you put your blocks of video together, they just snap right together. Very helpful to have those on. So make sure you have those on, because I was just, previewing this. If this is off, you cannot actually preview it. So it's very helpful in that regard. Also, again, because my defaults are, yours might look more like this, and actually might look more like this, which is crazy. It's helpful in some regard because you can definitely see everything, but in order to make that more manageable, if yours does look like this, you can come up here and adjust the time. So if you like a visual preview of what you're about to see, you can do that. Again, I just use the skimming, and even if you have it be like this, you can still use the skimming here. I prefer this because you have the names, which I find to be more helpful, and you also I'll show you how you can do some in and out points, so you can just take the pieces that you need from each of these shots instead of dragging them all down into the timeline. So anyway, we have our LS1, our long shot one, in there. And we're actually going to start by starting here. And I'm going to hit Shift Z, and that's going to zoom in on the timeline. I'm going to hit B for blade and cut when orange shirt person is out, because we need orange shirt person for the end. So we're going to start it here.
Because I come here for because I come here for many times, it doesn't know that is her house over there.
Okay, she's picking it up. She's using the right one. She's picking it up. I'm gonna, let me change. And another thing I'm gonna change here is the block. I usually do this for purposes of showing you guys, and so it shows up better. I'll do this. But normally this is how I do it, but we'll do this for now. So I'm just changing the size of the block. It's not changing anything else. I'm gonna hit B for blade, and I'm gonna cut right here because I'm gonna put in an edit point, a cutaway. So let's see, I'm thinking, what's one of the cutaways? So we wanna use every single one of these. This is the end. And sometimes, yeah, I'm gonna do this because this is gonna be our ending. I'm going to come up here. I can use the yellow selection tool to select. I know I'm scattered all over the place. This is how I operate. I know that may not be what most people do, but this is how I operate. It's how I operate in editing. It's how I operate in everything. I don't go linear. I go circular. So bear with me. I know that might be difficult for some people to follow, but I am going to do the ending part right now. And I'm going to click and hold, and hopefully you can see this yellow point. This is what we're choosing to put into the timeline. So I'm going to click. I can also hit I to put the in point wherever it looks good. So we have this person walking in. I'm going to hit I here, and they're flattening out the, and that's where we end with O. So you can see I just have this selection, and I'm going to drag and drop that down into the timeline. That's our ending. That's done, so I know where we're ending. And I know that we want to have this person. You can see I'm looking at the person in the orange shirt again. And I'm hitting J, K, and L. So if I hit J, I can go backwards. And I'm going to start here. And I'm going to hit B for blade. And I'm going to take out this stuff. So I've already taken something, and it's at about 30 seconds now. And again, my idea here is not to just show the process and have it be super long and super boring. We want it to be as engaging as this can possibly be. So we want to show the process, which by virtue of showing it might be a little boring, but we also want to show, make it as visually appealing as possible. So that's really our focus here. So let's see. This is the one where I went for the cutaway. I ended up getting sidetracked by the ending. But let's look for the cutaway here. Ooh, you know what I like is seeing, no, we don't need to do that right now. As I see orange shirt lady take it there too. Let's see, long shot, medium close up. Yeah, this is a good shot. Again, right off the bat, we want to make it at least somewhat interesting. So we want to look at the part, again, coming down to our main timeline. She is picking up on the right. She is picking up the crepe. And we want to make sure we get that. So it looks like she's about to do that here. We're going to hit, I'm going to hit I. See, you can see the crepe. At this point, you can see the crepe. That's why we're coming in at this point. I'm going to hit I. And she's placing it on the turnstile thing. I'm going to hit O. So I went in to out. Now I'm going to drag and drop that down into the timeline here. We'll see how it looks. I'm going to hit Shift Z to zoom in onto the timeline so I can see it. Ugh, it doesn't look great. So what can we do to make that look a little bit better? I'm going to try and zoom in as close as I can here, but I still do need to see the monitor. So what I'm going to do is some fine tuning. And you can see I can expand the video of the medium close-up. If I click here and I go hold this to the left, I can make that longer, and I can see I made it longer by 21 frames. I'm going to hit Command Z to undo that right now. Or it might work out that I want to make the long shot too longer, in which case you can see the little film strip. Depending on which side it's on, that's the side that you will actually be expanding. So this would be the long shot 2. This would be medium close-up. So let's see which one is going to kind of help us make this a little bit more smooth of a transition. Well, it's jarring because you cut back to... So actually... Let's see.
You can hold it. It's from the
How much? All right, I'm gonna see how this goes, making that go a little bit longer. Again, because initially, if I select a block, I can see right here, that's only 23 frames. That's really quick, too quick. So less than a second. So I'm gonna expand it a little bit longer than I had planned. And I can see, okay, she's placing down some of that stuff, the rice crepe stuff. So now I need to find another angle of that. So, I mean, that's the wrong side. That's the left side or the right side. I don't know. It's not the right side. I do know that. This is a good shot of that, though. So, again, this is kind of out of order, but I'm going to hit I here because this is what she's working on. I'm going to hit O here while she's still swirling it. I'm going to drag and drop this down into here. Let's see how this looks now. That's a pretty good cut. Now that doesn't make sense, obviously, because she's back to this other place. But we can see she's still swirling it here. So while she's swirling it, I'm going to hit B for blade in the timeline. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to hit A for arrow. I'm going to select this block of video. I'm going to hit delete, and that's going to take out all that other stuff. So here, let's watch this sequence now. So cut. Yeah. Cuts. Yeah. She's swirling it. There you go. That's a sequence right there. Now we just have, and I can see on here, I've used long shot, I've used cutaway 2, cutaway 1, and medium close-up. And for this assignment, you want to use every single angle. So let's take a look at the other angles. Over the shoulder, we can probably cut to that. All right, so she's doing this. She's starting to move the, and I'm going to hit B for blade. And I'm going to cut that right here and delete that other bit. So I'm going to go over the shoulder when she's moving. But the thing is, you got to remember, she's moving it from the one on her left. She's moving it from the one on her left to the one on her right. So that's the one we want to have. I'm going to hit I for in. I'm going to... She's scraping up that one. I'm going to hit O as she's scraping up that one. I'm going to drag and drop this down into here. So we have the over the shoulder. Again, we went back to her. There's that. She's doing the scrape. Let's cut to, I really like the medium close-up. Do we have a... That's good, but it's from the wrong angle. Let's go from this one. Perfect. So the one closer to her on this side. I'm going to hit I again. And she's placing it down on that. I'm going to hit O for out. Now I'm going to click, drag that down into the timeline. So we go long shot 2, medium close-up, cutaway 1, long shot 2, back to that establishing shot. That's our home shot. Over the shoulder, long shot 2. Doesn't make sense, but we're going to make it make sense. We could actually go from long shot 2 to the cutaway. Although I want to set up the lady taking the crepes. Long pause of not saying anything. So I'm going to hit B for blade. I'm going to cut that here. I kind of want to keep this around in case I need the long shot 2. Shift Z to again have it fill the entirety of my, I can see my entire timeline here. Okay, I want to do a little fine tuning here because we see her start to scrape, but I think we need a little bit more time on that scrape. All right, she's going up, and then maybe a little bit more time here as well. Yep. So you can follow that motion. Again, your eyes should be on the crepe itself. So let's just make sure we have the. All right. We're watching the crepe. We're watching her motion. Again, that matches with the motion, and it's on the correct side. Let's do a little fine tuning here. Again, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to make sure that. Oop, don't crash, that'd be bad. That film strip is on the right side, so I can expand this a little bit. Yeah, it just looks a little bit smoother there. She's scraping it up. Okay, I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so bear with me here. All right, that looks pretty good so far. We just need to finish it off, and we do have one more cutaway that we have to use, and it's this one. And I'm going to use this, and you can guess why. It's because that's where the lady is taking it off. You see her do it twice there. Don't need to see that. We're going to expand this. She's walking over here. There it is. So we have our ending done. Again, I apologize for those who work in a more linear way. That's not my style. So I did just kind of finish, made the end work for now. So we need a shot of her being over there. All right, so she's putting the crepe on there. Again, I'm using that this right here, the ability to slide back and forth, expand the block. And you can see that worked really well. And now we cut to... And one last thing, again, we see the movement in that. That's very deliberate and intentional. What I'm going to do here is I'm selecting this, and I'm going to come right here. This by default is transform. We're going to hit the arrow next to it and go crop. And we're going to hit Ken Burns. An interesting side note is trim is the default. Usually you're going to want to use crop. But we're going to use Ken Burns because we're going to try, it's going to start here and then animate to where it says end. And this is just kind of a simple transform. But I'm going to do this because it will bring more emphasis visually onto the red/orange shirt lady. So let's see how this works. So see, it moves over. So again, your focus is on there. Rice crepe. Okay, so let's just take one look around. I can see just we've used every clip. LS2 is the main one, and that's good. We want our, it's establishing shot's a different thing, but we want our main shot. That's what we're working off of. And then you have these other shots because if you didn't have them, it wouldn't be very visually appealing. And we also, wow, we're a couple frames off of 30 seconds. So I'll add a few frames to make it exactly 30 seconds. But let's watch, make sure we know what we're doing. Again, that first shot that we have in here is a bit longer because we want everyone to know, like, okay, this is what's happening. This is a process. This is what we're seeing. That's why that first shot is so long, and then it gets shorter. So cut there. We follow that. We follow the movement of her swirling that rice crepe mixture, moving the thing, scraping up, placing it down. She's doing that. And again, maybe we focus more on, we're going to come over here, crop tool, and instead of a Ken Burns, we'll just do a regular crop. And I'm just going to do this because that will bring, again, visually more emphasis onto, hopefully, the person wearing the orange shirt. Kind of weird with the Ken Burns effect after that, too. Yeah, so let's change this from, again, I'm selecting it, I'm clicking over it with the playhead, and I'm coming back over here to crop, and instead of Ken Burns, we're just going to go crop and do the same kind of crop we did with the other one, because it looks weird to have that other one be Ken Burns and one just be a straight up crop. Again, the emphasis is put on there. There we go. And let's make it 30 frames perfectly. And I can see, I'm looking right here. This is the entirety. So we got 30 frames. All right, so now we have our edit done. Mostly. Audio is going to be inconsistent. You can see so many cuts. So what I'm going to do is I'm highlighting everything. I'm coming over here, and by default, you're on hopefully the film strip. But come over to up here in the inspector. It says inspecting 10 items. I'm going to come over to audio, and I'm going to bring the volume all the way down. And the nice thing is we can always bring it back if we need to. And Final Cut Pro is not going to crash. And what I'm going to do now is, this is long shot. Well, I guess we could do over the shoulder too. Let's use over the shoulder. Or let's see what has better audio. All right, we'll use over the shoulder because it's all we need is 30 seconds of audio. So I'm going to expand the zone here and expand. I'm going to drag and drop that down here underneath. And the reason underneath is because we're going to only use the audio. I'm going to right click on it, detach audio, then I'm going to delete the video, then I'm going to put that just like that. However, you can see it overreaches here at the end, so I'm going to hit B, and because I have snapping enabled, it's going to snap right to the spot that I want to edit. I'm going to delete that, and we have consistent audio throughout. So let's Shift Z to get the whole thing into the picture. All right. Cut. 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 Sorry, it should have been. All right. There we go. That's rice crepes. I can add titles. If you choose to do that, don't use 360 because that's for VR. But instead of being overwhelmed by a ton of titles here, you can hit this drop arrow. There's a bunch of other things. I have additional ones because I have add-ons to Final Cut Pro. Generators is another cool thing. Instead of having kind of a boring background, you can have all sorts of wild, weird, at least more interesting backgrounds. But one thing we are going to actually add in is some music. So I'm going to first do this. And I happen to have a song that I think would fit quite well. And that's called, well, if I wanted to, I could come to Pixabay Music. And I could search for, I know this takes place in Cambodia. I could search Cambodian. And there's no Cambodian music. All right. I just go upbeat. It's interesting because there's no Cambodian music, yet Cambodian was one of the things they recommended, so. I swear I've heard this in like 4 commercials. I feel like that could work. Honestly, I was going to put Funky Fortune in because Funky Fortune might be the best song ever, but what do you mean, Mr. Bart? What do you mean? Well, what I mean is this is Funky Fortune, again from Pixabay. You know what? I'm going to drop Funky Fortune in there. And I'm also going to download this one. So I'm coming back to Chrome. No copyright for her chill, upbeat summer travel vlog. It's like I want to put in every single buzzword I can to make sure my thing is downloaded. I'm downloading. I'm going to download it to, I guess, desktop. I'll go downloads, save. Saved right here to my downloads folder. I'm going to drag and drop that in. I'm going to put it above, but it's going to put it below. I'm going to shrink the size of these blocks because it's going to be a lot to manage. I'm going to set, okay, Final Cut. I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to set this at the beginning. I'm going to click V to turn off the no copyright for her. I'm also going to select Funky Fortune, and I'm going to turn down the decibels up here again in the inspector. I'm going to go minus 15 because I can see it was red, and red means clipping. That's still a little loud, so let's go minus 20. Yeah, I'm gonna hit V. I'm gonna hit B for blade and blade both of these because no matter which one we choose, it's not gonna need to be more than 30 seconds. I'm gonna go with this one. Gonna go minus 20. I mean, it's background music. It's not supposed to take the glow away from what you're seeing. It's just supposed to add to it. All right, and then I'm going to do a fade out, and I can do a fade out by grabbing this little pin right here and dragging it to the left. That's going to fade it out. All right, I'm going to do one more thing, unless it crashes here before I'm done. Don't crash. Don't crash. Is that going to be it? The fade out is going to crash it. Click away from Final Cut. Come back. It's still... Oh, there we go. I'm going to add the end title to it. I'm going to go to titles. I'm going to click here. I'm just going to do not credits. I don't know which ones are ones that you will have and which ones are not ones that you will have. I think bump basic is pretty good. So I'm going to drag and drop it. Obviously, I don't want it over this whole thing. I just want it at the end. And I want it to say crepes. Goo! I want it to say that. And I can do that by selecting it. Hit A for arrow, B for blade, Command Z for the mistakes we've made. I'm going to say love them crepes. And a sideways smiley face. Whoa! Okay. I can see though, at the very end of this, it pulls back out. I don't want that. I'm going to select this title. I'm going to come up to the inspector, and where it It says T there. It says build in. Yes, we do want that. And build out. No, we don't. We can also change the animation. Let's slide. We can title size large. Ooh. All right. Pretty good. 30 seconds. Took me longer than 30 seconds, obviously. But now we can go up here. Apple device is 1080. Or if you shot in 4K, you could do 4K. Crepe Lady. Next. And by default, I go upload to PTV. I'll upload it to PTV. So by the time you're seeing this, you can watch the thing that I've posted on there. I'm sure it will get tons of views. I'm going to call it Crepe Lady. Finished. By Mr. Bart. Context is key here. Crepe Lady project. Save. Here's the thing. People, much like when you're importing, you have to wait for it to export. And I can see how long it's going to take by looking up here or clicking there. And then I get a notification. I'm supposed to, but I don't. I probably turn them off. And then I go to the folder which I put it, and I'm going to select it, spacebar. There it is. It worked. So that is how you would edit the Crepe Lady project. You can change anything you want, mix it around, but you see the basics of how to actually go through and edit the whole thing. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Good luck. We're all counting on you.